everybody, welcome to the world's greatest Bronze Age comic book podcast, Flea Market Fantasy. I'm your co-host, Mike Allen. As always, I'm joined by...
Michael Dell of the LCS Hockey Radio Show.
That is correct. And today, it is the wild card. This is the most bizarre comic we've ever reviewed, because it's not really a comic book. It is a guide, I guess you'd call it, like an encyclopedia. This is Who's Who, the Definitive Directory of the DC Universe, Volume 9.
Yeah, from 1985, right?
Yep. Have you ever heard of this before, Mike Dell?
Yes, I have heard of this, Mike L, because it is a blatant ripoff of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, created by Marvel comic books.
And the Marvel Universe is a blatant ripoff of Who's Who because someone at DC had the idea first, and they spilled it when they were drunk at a party, and Marvel overheard, and they stole it. That's what happened.
Ridiculous. Jim Shooter had the idea for Marvel's official handbook in 1982 when they published it, and then this is 85, 3 years later.
Well, the guy at DC was at a party in 1981, so yeah, it was first. But anyway.
Yeah, Marvel put out theirs, and DC said, hey, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do that. So they ripped it off. Now, is there anything more classic DC than coming out with a who's who of the DC universe where you give the histories and the backgrounds of all these various characters and doing it in 1985?
I know where you're going with this.
So then it lasts 26 issues, right? It goes like they do each letter of the alphabet, I think, right? Is that how it works? And then, so halfway through, the old Crisis on Infinite Earths happens, and all these character stories change. Their whole histories change.
This is true. You 1 point for Mike Dell, yes.
And then it finishes up in 87. So, like, some characters at the beginning of the series, they had their classic pre-Crisis histories, and then other characters like Wonder Woman and Superman had their post-Crisis histories in the series. And it's what's more DC than that? I think that sums up the company fairly well.
It's a big strike against them. And what makes it even worse is that, for example, in Who's Who number 2, you have Batman 1 and Batman 2, okay? Batman 1 is from Earth 2, Batman 2 is from Earth 1. It makes perfect sense, okay? By the time you get to Who's Who number, I think it's 24, with Superman on the cover, you'd expect them to have Superman 1, Superman 2, and maybe have a Superman 3 in there for the John Byrne Superman, right? But no, what do? They have Superman 1, and then they have like a Superman 2, but the Superman 2 was drawn by John Byrne, so that one's revised, but they still have the other one. It makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
DC's the worst, Michael.
Oh, I love DC, but anyway.
It's so terrible. All right, so DC Who's Who. Yeah, they go through and they, what's the one we're doing here today? Like G, most of the G kids, right?
Most of the G, yeah. It doesn't go in exact, like they don't cover all the G's here, but yeah, most of them.
All the big prominent letter G people. And they break it down. I got to be honest, Michael, I didn't read any of this.
Perfect.
But, I figured we'll just flip through it.
Yeah,
you know? Because you know what the fuck's to read. All right, so they got their personal data, then they got their history, then their powers and weapons.
Yes.
And each character gets their own page, right? I think most of them do, at least. And then there's a big picture of them. There'll be like a color depiction of the character. And then in the background behind them, there's like a one-color collage of images of the character.
Right.
Sometimes it's a blue color, sometimes it's a red. But I like that. That's a nice little design, you know?
And we should point out that, the biggest difference between this and Marvel Universe is the Marvel Universe, they have the main drawing, but then they have little panels that are reprints of old comics, and that's what fills up the rest of the entry. Whereas in this, it's all one original new picture.
Yes.
Yes.
And like the Marvel one, you just get the, there would be no background stuff behind that main image.
Exactly.
It would just be the figure head to toe.
Right.
Yeah, and who wrote this? I know Len Wein and Marv Wolfman were two of the main brains behind this whole series, right?
Yes, I believe... Oh, crap.
There's another fella, too. Robert Greenberger was also...
Yes, who I have on Facebook. He's a Facebook friend.
He hasn't blocked you yet?
Not yet. We've got into a few tiffs, but he hasn't blocked me.
I'm looking at the credits here. Yeah, Len Wines, writer, editor. Marv Wolfman, contributing writer, contributing editor. Robert Greenberger, associate editor, researcher. Mike W. Barr, we know that guy.
Absolutely.
Gary Cohn.
Yep, I know him from Amethyst.
Oh, that's right. Paul Levitz, we've heard of him before.
Yep.
They're contributing writers. Then E. Nelson Bridwell, Peter Sanderson are also contributing writers.
Peter Sanderson, Facebook friend, yep.
For now.
Yep.
Yeah, for now. Todd Klein, contributing writer production. Anthony Tolan, Len Wein, and Tatiana Wood are the colorists. Len Wein was a colorist?
I didn't know that either. That's news to me.
Brenda Pope is the proofreader. She's very good. Yeah, there you go. I think those are all the people responsible for this.
Yep.
So did you own all these, Michael?
Did I read them cover to cover in grade 8? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, this is great. Like when I was a kid, I didn't have the 82 official Marvel handbook, but then they republished it again in like 85, I think. And I had some of those. And then they did an update in 89, and I had a bunch of those.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
And Who's Who has... Now, that was Marvel Universe you're talking about, right?
Yes, Marvel Universe.
With Who's Who, yes, there was an update 88, update 89, and then I think in 90 or 91 or something, they did the loose leaf Who's Who. Do you remember those?
I don't know what that means.
Well, loose leaf, like a like a binder, like loose leaf is a paper with 3 holes
individual
in it.
pieces of paper. Yeah. So you're saying like they weren't bound in any way?
No. So what you do is, it's weird. You would buy. Okay, this is really weird. You would buy Who's Who #1, and it would have, like, let's just say 24 entries, but they'd all be A to Z. Okay.
A to Z.
A to Z.
When you say Z.
Yes. For example, the first Who's Who #1 of that edition has Superman on the cover, okay? Then you'd buy #2, and it would have, like, the Flash on the cover, and it would be A to Z again. And then once you got to the end of the series, you take all those, and they were bound by this kind of, like, it was almost like a prestige format, but the actual glue binding them together could easily come off. You would take them all out, and you would reshuffle them into chronological order. Alphabetical order. And then you put them in this big binder. And so basically, I think it was kind of their way to have like a big star in every issue. And also so that if they decided towards the end that they wanted to add new characters, they could just add them in. And then you could just shuffle them in alphabetically, It was great.
That is interesting. I had never heard of such a thing. Like Marvel never did that, right?
Yes, they did. They ripped it off and they did their own version. Yep, it was called Marvel Universe something edition. I can't remember, but yeah, I'll look it up.
That had to be in the 90s or something, right?
Yeah, mid-90s, I think.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't outside of comics by then. But, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to love the Marvel ones because you'd always learn interesting things. I liked learning about all the obscure characters,
Right, sure, of course.
And I made sure, when I was a kid, and I went back and I got like the one from 82 that had Wolverine.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I love Wolverine, so I got to go get that one. But, yeah, I never read any of these DC ones. Because, DC stinks.
Oh, that's too bad. Maybe if you would have read Who's Who in grade 8 like me, you'd love DC
I would have
just
loved
like
it,
I do.
DC, yeah.
Yeah.
Every character and their 6 different backstories. Yeah. All right, so let's look at this cover. Who's Who? We mentioned November of 85, $1.25. $35, $1.35.
What an odd price, eh?
Yeah, I just assumed it's $25. Holy hell, $1.35. So here on the cover, we got everybody who's a lot of Green Lantern people.
Yes.
Because with the G, that kind of.
Yep, we've got kind of so obviously this is a wraparound cover, and so the actual cover you would see would have been the John Stewart Green Lantern, the Black Green Lantern, and then behind him you see Jack-o'-lantern, Geoforce. Below him you see the Alan Scott Green Lantern, you see Guardian, you see Green Arrow, and then on the back you see Hal Jordan Green Lantern, plus the Golden Age Green Arrow, plus a bunch of other characters.
Yeah, we should say, you mentioned it's a wraparound cover. And like all the Marvel handbooks, they would just have a bunch of characters on the front, too, just like this.
Right.
But DC, they have the Who's Who logo. It's like the DC bullet
yes.
In red with a light blue Who's Who, almost like graffiti spray painted kind of over top of it. And then the background, there's like one box up on its tip and then another square box with checkerboard behind it. It's very 80s.
Yeah, it's a unique cover. I don't know if I love it, but it's definitely unique. Because, basically, a typical comic book, the logo is at the top and the price is at the top. But this is all, like, right justified. Where you have the logo, then you have, like, a subtitle, then you have all the characters in this, like, chart, kind of.
Yeah, it's like a red chart with yellow fonts. And, I wanted to mention that. Everything's off to the right. And then the wraparound... Because normally, like when Marvel does a wraparound cover or something for theirs, they would still have all the, like the number in the box in the top left corner, like where it's supposed to be. But here, DC shifts everything to the right.
This is
a little weird.
Yep.
Oh. Defend it.
Me?
Well,
I think it's great.
I guess they had to do that because they wanted to put those. That dopey chart in with everybody's name, but
you got everyone's
you could have put that over on the left too. I don't know.
Yeah, you could have.
It's
I don't know. The other thing too is that Marvel Universe covers all join together.
Yes, that is true.
Who's do not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give it this. We do get to see. I believe that's Gorilla Grodd in there, so you get a monkey.
Yes, right. So, the other thing we should point out is many of the covers were drawn by George Perez, but at this time. He was so busy because he was also doing Crisis and History of the DC Universe, so he didn't really have the time. And so, unfortunately, this issue's cover is by... Who's it by? Does it say? Yeah. It doesn't even say in here. Wow. Interesting. It doesn't say.
Probably that DC fandom website will probably have it.
Somewhere, yeah.
Want to Google there. Because, Michael, not only is Gorilla Grodd on the cover, but it looks like he's fighting a robot.
Wait, is he? Let me see. Hold on, I gotta click back.
It's like a guy.
You mean GI Robot.
Oh, GI Robot.
Yes.
All right. Wow, this is like my one of my ideal storylines, a monkey fighting a robot. Right.
Oh, by the way, I found out who drew the cover. It's Paris Collins.
I don't know who that is.
And Dick Giordano. Paris Collins did we do Blue Devil? We haven't done Blue Devil yet, have we?
No.
Nope, but we will.
We've done Blue Beetle, but not Blue
that's
Devil.
Right. Easily confused. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, man. I dread it because I know Blue Devil's coming around the corner.
Oh, yes. Right around the corner. Okay, so are we going to crack the sucker open?
Yeah. So inside the cover here, we got a Dear Who's Who. Are these letters from people? Or are these,
yes, from readers, yes.
Yeah.
And like individual questions about each character, like corrections and questions.
Holy
and
hell.
stuff.
Yeah, this person, they write a letter, and they're just hammering them like all the mistakes they made.
Yeah.
They're like, holy fuck. Look at this guy. Who does this David Bedard from St. Bruce, Saskatchewan think he is?
Uh-huh.
Man. Get a load of this guy.
See, look at this. Oh, look at this. Cheetah 1. If she's dead, how come she's in crisis? Let's go to the answer here. Cheetah 1. She is indeed dead, but people from all time periods have taken an active role in crisis. See? That's great. They answer all those questions.
Well, not all of them. Like some of them, maybe, because he has one for Congo Bill. Wherever he first appeared, it sure wasn't Action Comics #1. And then do you see a Congo Bill? Oh, wait, there it is. Congo Bill turned up in Action 37, not #1. All right, so maybe they do address it.
See, yep. Very thorough.
But yeah, they were wrong about everything. This guy nailed them on it. Is this guy related to you, Michael? He knows a lot about comics.
Look at that Saskatchewan. You could be.
I know.
Huh.
Holy
Interesting.
hell.
No, he's not.
This guy knows this. Let's get this guy on Flea Market Fantasy. Track down David Bedard.
There you go. Track him down. Anyway, look, and there's the little pronunciation guide at the bottom there.
Yes. For only 4 people.
Garn Denuth. Geoforce. Why would someone not know how to pronounce that? Anyway, Gordanians and Grimbor. Anyway.
Yeah, do you really need Geoforce in there? Yeah, because Garn Denuth, you got a double A in there, Daanuth.
That's what that is. Okay.
That would trick some people.
I gotta zoom in. That's the problem. I wasn't zoomed in.
But Geoforce, you think everyone would be able to figure that one out? But,
right.
Okay, so, Miguel, first out of the gate is Garn Denuth.
Yep.
#1.
From Warlord. We have some good art here by Jan.
Okay, yeah, because I never heard of this guy.
Yeah.
So he's from Warlord.
See, this is what we call tickling the imagination, because you've never heard of this character. You see the art, you're like, oh, I got to find out more about this guy. Now you got to go buy Warlord number 59, right?
Yeah, it is pretty good. Do you have any idea who drew this?
Yes, at the bottom you'll see in blue it says art by Jan.
Oh, look at that.
Dersima.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you know who that person is?
Yes, I believe I've definitely heard of them. I'm not sure if that's a man or woman, but I've definitely have heard of them. Yes.
Yeah, I have not.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a good drawing there.
Yep.
And so this guy, like his personal data, alter ego, none. Occupation, sorcerer. That's a good gig. You're a sorcerer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a good gig. I love that when it's like occupation, adventurer, occupation, costume champion. I love those.
Occupation, terrible podcast host.
Whoa!
That's me, Michael. It's me.
Oh,
it's me.
I thought you were throwing shade.
No. I'm talking about myself.
Okay.
Marital status, single. So, ladies, you got a shot at them.
We should do this for every entry.
Yeah. Well, I figured we'll, see what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Known relatives, then group affiliation, base of operation. Formerly a tower in the city of Thamuz in Mu, 45,000 years ago. Currently unknown. Well, I'm guessing he's dead. I'm guessing that's where he's at now.
But he still appeared in Crisis. Yep.
First appearance, Warlord 59. Height 6'2", weight 195.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Yeah. Eyes white, hair white, formerly black.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. So he's old, I guess.
Aged, yeah.
Yeah. And then they give this history. We will not read that. And then you give his powers and weapons. In his prime, Garn Denuth possessed seemingly unlimited magical power. He could fly, hurl tremendously powerful bolts of mystical energy, engage in astral projection, control the minds of others, and perform many other kinds of magical feats. Although in his prime, Garn Denuth was in fine physical condition, he used his mythical powers in battle rather than engaging in hand-to-hand combat. So they had to mention that in his prime twice in 2 paragraphs.
Yes.
I don't know if we need
Good
that.
point.
But, yeah.
Oh, we should. Have you pointed out the yellow border? No, you haven't.
I have not.
So that's one unique thing about Who's Who's. They have this weird.
Terrible, yeah.
It's kind of ugly. They have this weird yellow border that's kind of like a very primitive gradation where at the top it's like white dots in a yellow background, and by the time it gets to the bottom, it's kind of like big yellow dots in a white background.
Yeah.
But it's kind of just, it's part of the classic look, so you can't lose that,
But it's terrible.
Yeah,
all right. Hey, Michael, next up is Gem World.
There you go. Amethyst's World.
You love Gem World?
Yep. Amethyst, Aquamarine, Diamond, Emerald. Look at these characters. Great. Garnet, Moonstone, Opal. Is it Opal or Opal? I guess it's Opal. I don't know.
Opal.
Ruby,
Opal.
Sapphire, Sardonyx, Topaz, and Turquoise. These are great.
Yeah.
Art by Ernie Cohen and Carl Kiesel or Kessel.
How about
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Then we got General Immortus.
Yes, General Immortus from first appearance, My Greatest Adventure, number 80. He is a villain of the Doom Patrol.
Oh, okay. I never read any Doom Patrol. When are you going to pick Doom Patrol?
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. And look at this at the bottom. Art by Brett Blevins. We know him from New Mutants, but what else have we covered Brett Blevins?
He did the cover of that Magic issue that Cousin Brandon chose.
Oh, okay.
So we mentioned him then. But we've never done, I don't think, a book that he's drawn.
Okay, interesting.
But, it's a good picture here of Brett Blevins. And drawing this guy, General Immortus. Never heard of him. Now this next... Yeah, I never heard of him. This next guy, Michael, Gentleman Ghost.
Yeah.
Never heard of this guy. I did read this because I was like, who the hell is this guy? But he's basically like a ghost, but he's real fancy. So he dresses like, he's out of the 1800s. And he's got a hat and a monocle. Mm-hmm. And but there's no body there.
So great.
It's just the clothes and the hat and the monocle floating in the air.
You know what's funny? I never noticed this until now, but his hand is also floating. Like the glove, there's no wrist in there. I never noticed that before. Very cool.
And he has a walking stick.
Yep.
And this is drawn by Joe Kubert.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Really good stuff here.
Talked about Joe Kubert before.
Yeah.
But this gentleman, Ghost Fella, he, what's his backstory? He died and he said he'd come back to haunt the town or something, and then he came back and haunted the town. Is that what? He was getting hanged, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And it says here he eventually attracted the attention of the winged wonders known as Hawkman and Hawkwoman. And then later he resurfaced and fought Batman.
Yeah.
Great. Good character. I like him.
How about that?
All right, on to the next one. Look at this Geoforce. Remember him?
Yeah, how do you pronounce that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about Geoforce when we did The Outsiders, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
So screw that guy. We don't need to talk about him.
He's great. Look at this. The Ghost. We had the Gentleman Ghost. Now we have the Ghost.
There's a lot of Ghosts. And by the way, Jim Aparo drew that Geoforce.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yes. Jim Aparo, one of my favorites.
This Ghost here is...
It's funny. It's by Carl Potts.
Yeah. Isn't he a writer?
I thought he was a writer and an editor, but I do remember him doing art for something, like a one Spider-Man story. And I remember thinking how good it was. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah, because I got to tell you, I really liked his depiction of the Ghost here. Nice line work there. Of course, it's inked by Bob Wyasek, so that guy's
not bad,
good, right?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So he could have saved it, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe, yeah. And he first appeared in Captain Atom, number 82, and listeners will know, or should know, that Captain Atom was published by Charlton Comics, not DC.
Oh.
So this character was bought by DC, like a few years earlier. So
yeah, and his outfit, he looks like Moon Knight kind of without the hood.
Yeah, you could say that. He's got like Spider-Man eyes.
Yeah, he does have Spider-Man. He does have something behind his head though, but it's not a hood. It's just like
It's weird. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Or is that supposed to be a hood? But it's just the way it's looking in that
like
picture.
It's kind of like it might just be poorly rendered shadows. I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe this Carl Potts isn't really what he's cracked up to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe.
That's right. So what's his deal though, Michael? Can you tell us anything about the Ghost?
The Ghost. I mean, not without reading this, but let's see.
But is he a hero or a villain?
Oh, he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, they should have put that somewhere, like in the personal data, hero or villain. You know.
I think they did that in the loose leaf edition, but not in this edition. So they don't want to pigeonhole anyone, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, their backstories are going to change anyway, so what does it matter?
Right, that's a good point.
Hey, Michael, do you like the Ghosts? Because next we have the Ghost Patrol.
Yeah, like we said, there's a lot of ghosts in this one. Yeah. The Ghost Patrol. Let's see, who do we got here? Fred, Pedro, and Slim. Oh, boy.
Are these like Ghostbuster ripoffs, or what are these deals?
These characters are...
They're the Ghost Tank guys, right?
No, I don't think so. Are they? No.
They consist of 3 former members of the French Foreign Legion, known only as Fred, Pedro, and Slim, who shortly after their deaths returned to battle Nazi aggression during World War II.
Yeah, but nothing to do with the... What did you say? The haunted tank?
Aren't they the same? They don't hang out with them guys?
No, different. Totally different.
So you're telling me that DC has 2 entirely different sets of heroes that were ghosts that fought the Nazis?
Absolutely, yep. See, it says here, as ghosts, Fred, Pedro, and Slim could perform such feats as flying, walking through walls, and becoming invisible. They could materialize all or part of themselves in physical form. Isn't that great?
Just their wang?
Maybe.
Wow, that's weird. Art by Luke McDonnell and Carl Kessel.
Yep, Luke McDonnell did Suicide Squad, which I believe we reviewed, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And it wasn't that good.
All right, no.
Next up, hey, it's a G.I. Robot.
Yes.
So he's like a robot, but he's dressed in an army outfit with the helmet and everything.
Yeah, good character, eh? I like him.
I guess.
Now, you notice here, there's 2 of them. There's first appearance of G.I. Robot 1 is Weird War Tales number 101. G.I. Robot 2 is from Weird War Tales number 113. And then if you look here, real name is Jake 2, but Jake stands for Jungle Automatic Killer Experimental. I love it.
He's 6'6", 548 pounds. His eyes, photocellular. His hair, none.
Yep.
It's a G.I. Robot.
And then the art is by, is it Mike Chen?
That's what it looks like, but the text's all jumbled up.
Smudgy. Yeah, and Murphy Anderson on inks. Murphy Anderson is a great inker.
You've never read anything with G.I. Ribbit?
Maybe, like, he might have been in one panel of Crisis. I just don't remember. I don't know.
Well, if he's fighting monkeys like he's doing on that cover, I'm Team Monkey. Let's put that. All right, next up we have Gizmo.
With great art by the late, great George Perez.
And who in the blue hell is Gizmo?
Gizmo, he's a bad guy for the New Teen Titans. He's part of the Fearsome Five.
Do you want to tell me the? Oh, he looks like he's a little fella.
Yeah, I don't. To be honest, I think the Fearsome Five might have been Monsieur Mala and the brain. What was the brain's name? I don't remember. But anyway, I think that's who's in that group, but I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Hey, you know what you need to do? Get to Who's Who, issue F, and you can read about the Fearsome Five.
There you go. But see, this was great. This is why I read Who's Who cover to cover, because I wanted to know everything, you know?
But Gizmo is capable of creating unbelievable weaponry by transforming one machine into another. Doesn't Marvel have a guy that does the exact same thing?
Oh, well, there's the Thinker, but he's the only one I can think of, unless you mean
the
Forge.
Tinkerer, right? The
Tinkerer, maybe the Tinkerer, yeah.
Yeah.
Gizmo.
Yeah, but Forge also could do that. Yeah, he always invented weapons and shit.
Forge could do that, yeah.
Oh, well, here, in his tiny hands, using state-of-the-art technology, an ordinary vacuum cleaner, for example, can easily be converted into a deadly, unstoppable tank. I don't think that's possible.
I think it is.
A tank for hamsters? Vacuum cleaners aren't that big. So how is it going to be?
You don't know how smart this guy is.
He's suddenly going to make it enormous. An unstoppable tank. All right, now we have the Global Guardians.
Oh, some of my favorites right here.
I find that hard to believe.
I love it.
Have we talked about these clowns before?
I don't know if they've come up, but the cool thing is that some of the characters from this have gone on to other things. Like, for example, at the bottom right, you have Green Flame. You see her?
I do see Green Flame, yeah.
She's lovely,
pretty sexy, yeah.
And at the top left, you see Ice Maiden floating away like on a little snowflake thing.
Yes, I do see Ice Maiden.
So they later joined the Justice League and became Fire and Ice. So they became minor stars, yep.
Hey, I think we've talked about these people before, though, right? But I can't remember why. Oh, you know what it was, Michael? It was in that you made us read that other dopey DC book where it talked about everybody. What was that other one?
Oh, History of the DC Universe.
Yeah, History of the DC Universe. And they had a little picture of all these people,
right,
towards the end. And because I remember, there's Tasmanian Devil because he looks like a cat, but he's got all black, like a Black Panther with a big white T on his chest. And I remember that Green Flame lady. And but I like Jack-O-Lantern. How about this guy? He's carrying around a black Jack-O-Lantern, and he's got a little mask on his head. So, yeah, he's something.
Oh, but look at Little Mermaid right behind him. Look at her.
Little Mermaid.
Yep.
Disney's going to be pissed. Yeah. So there you go.
Some good characters here. I like them.
Who drew all that?
This is at the bottom. Oh, this is messy. It's
Eduardo
Barreto.
Right.
He's a really good classic DC artist. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good art. And next up, it looks like a Jack Kirby creation.
Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Next up is... Hold on, I can't click on... Oh, Glorious Godfrey! Jack Kirby, yep.
Who is Glorious Godfrey?
He is... I mixed these people up, but I can't remember if he's the one based on Stan Lee or if it was Funky Flashman. No, I think it was Funky Flashman.
Yeah, because this guy doesn't look anything like Stan Lee.
No.
Yeah.
Glorious Godfrey, I think, he's like he has the power of persuasion, I think. That's basically his thing. It says here, his greatest gift is his overwhelming speaking voice and his extraordinary powers of persuasion. That's pretty much it. But he first appeared in Forever People, #3, and he's associated with Darkseid's elite. That's his group. Isn't that cool?
What's Forever People?
Forever People, that's one of the Fourth World comics. So there was New Gods, Mr. Miracle, Jimmy Olsen, and then Forever People. That was the fourth one.
How did Jimmy Olsen get in there?
It's a funny story. It's because Jack Kirby said, I don't want to bump someone off a book that's successful, so I want you to give me your lowest selling book to take over, and DC gave him Jimmy Olsen.
Okay. But he wasn't part of the Fourth World, though, right?
Well, yes. What happened was Jimmy Olsen became like the kind of everyman who met the characters in the Fourth World. So he met like the DN aliens and the
Are they related Project. To the DN agents?
No relation. No relation.
Right. Yeah.
And like the like the Forever People and all that stuff. It was good. It was a good time.
I doubt it. All right, next up we have the Golden Gladiator, art by Russ Heath. I don't know who Russ Heath is.
Oh, Russ Heath. He's actually met him. He's really cool, old school comic book artist, classically trained, and you can tell by this art it looks very 1950s, eh?
Yeah, but I like it. Yeah.
Good stuff. Yep. Golden Gladiator. Let's see. He first appeared. In the Brave and the Bold #1. That's pre-superhero Brave and the Bold. That's when Brave and the Bold was an actual I think it was like a medieval themed book with Robin Hood types and knights and stuff like that.
Yeah, because this guy's from ancient Rome.
Right. Very cool.
Next up, the Golden Glider. She's a foxy ice skater.
Yeah, she is.
The Golden Glider.
Yep. First appeared in Flash 250. She's a newer character. Look at that. She's got ice skates. That's cool.
Yeah. That's why she's the Golden Glider. I said she's a foxy ice skater.
Yeah. I missed that.
Yeah.
And then the art is by Irv Novick and Dick Giordano. Let's see. What are her powers? The Golden Glider is a world-class champion skater. She wears ice skates that create their own ice, which emits anti-gravity radiation. See, that's awesome. You can't beat that.
You can beat that. This is terrible.
Listen to this. Her jewel weapons include ones that can hypnotize victims, create force fields, teleport their wielder, create illusions, project force beams, emit powerful acid, and increase a victim's mass. Huh! She's like unbeatable. That's great.
So she's a villain of the Flash, right?
Yes. Why has no one brought her back?
That's probably reasons. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, she wears like a little ice skater outfit, but it's gold, and she's got gloves and like fur around the wrist of the gloves.
Yep.
And a little golden mask.
Yep.
And golden ice skates that have anti-gravity ice.
I love it.
Next up, Michael, Goldface.
Pretty cool. I like it. Goldface.
His outfit kind of looks like Kang, but it's all gold.
This is true. And without even looking at the credits, we know who did this, right? Gil Kane.
Oh, really? I didn't know that was Gil Kane.
Look at that art. Look at that. Oh, the muscle. It's great. Good.
That muscle.
Yep.
Goldface. Who the hell is Goldface?
He's one of Green Lantern's.
Issue 28.
Yep.
When he premiered, yeah.
And it said here, Goldface is abnormally strong and invulnerable to anything except the gold that is the source of his elixir of invulnerability. Huh.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense, but oh well. He also carries a high-pressure spray gun that fires a stream of gold that could be shaped as Goldface desires. That's pretty cool.
Hey, this Goldface guy, he gets like a page in it, or no, he just gets one page. All right, I thought he bled over into the next one. But no, they just switched up how they did this next page because they put the picture on the bottom.
Right. Yeah.
Gordanians.
Yes. These are aliens from Green Lantern.
They kind of look like the Badoon.
Little bit, yeah. They're kind of like lizard men. I like this art. It's a good design. Bruce Patterson. Yeah.
What's his first name?
Bruce Patterson.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Bruce
the top
Patterson.
there.
Yeah.
I think he might be... I don't know anything about Bruce Patterson. But I like this art. It's pretty good.
You could have just pretended. We don't know either.
Yeah, you're right.
Next up, Gorilla City. Yeah, now we're talking monkeys.
Oh, yes.
Alan Kupperberg did the art here. We know all about Gorilla City and Gorilla Grodd and that Flash annual that we read, right?
That's right.
It wasn't a Flash annual. It was a Flash. Was it a giant size?
It was a special. It was something. It was like a whole bunch of stories, yeah.
Yeah. So anything
good
with
stuff.
monkeys, I'm a big fan of.
Yep. I first came across Gorilla City in Crisis, and I was immediately, fascinated. I loved it.
Next up, we got Gorilla Grodd, who, the big champion of Gorilla City there. Well, he's the villain, not really the champion. But look at his hair here. He looks like a hippie. What's going on? Yeah,
you could say that. That is a weird hairstyle. You're right.
What's going on, Gorilla Grodd? Yeah.
And this is some unusual art because the pencils are by Carmine Infantino, who we all know from The Flash.
I would never guess in a million years Carmine Infantino drew this.
Well, that's because the inks are by Bill Sienkiewicz, who makes it look like... Yeah, it's like a really weird clash of styles, but it works. I like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Except for his haircut.
Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, when you go look, like, if you cover up Gorilla Grodd's face and look at his body, especially the hands and the feet, that's Sienkiewicz.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But you don't know about Gorilla Grodd. He's awesome. Next up, oh God, Lord Michael, it's Granny Goodness.
There you go, Granny Goodness.
Good Lord.
What, is she scaring you?
This is the dumbest character I've ever heard.
Oh, I love this character, Granny Goodness. Look at that face.
Jack Kirby. Remember this? We read that damn Mr. Miracle. This brings back so many bad memories.
So
I think it was like issue 4 maybe of Flea Market Fantasy.
Yeah, something like that. Yep. The good old days.
Granny Goodness.
Oh, look at that. Headmistress. That's her occupation. She has no powers. She's surprisingly robust. And quite good at hand-to-hand combat. I like it.
Surprisingly robust for an elderly woman.
Yep.
For an elderly, overweight woman. Yeah, how about that? Granny Goodness. Next up, Gravedigger.
Oh, cool. I actually don't know this guy at all.
The art here is by Dick Ayers, who we've encountered before.
Oh, yes, in Ghost Rider, right? He was one of the creators of Ghost Rider, I think.
I want to say the art we remember Dick Ayers from is our buddy Miles Watson came on and we did Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. I think that was Dick Ayers.
Okay.
I think. But, yeah, this Gravedigger fella, he's Men of War issue 1 was his first premiere, and Captain Ulysses Hazard is his real name. That sounds like someone else's name.
I'm looking up Men of War. Oh, yeah, it was. I wasn't sure if it was DC, but it was DC, yes. 1956 it started. Huh.
But he's like a war guy.
Yeah.
Fighting them Nazis.
Yep. Yeah. Pretty cool. All right, flip to the next one. Oh, here we go, the good stuff. This is the Golden Age Green Arrow. Have you ever seen this version of Green Arrow?
Well, he kind of looks like Speedy.
A little bit. Actually, that's a good point. He does. But yeah, originally he had, as you can see, brown hair, not blonde, and he had red gloves and red boots. And this is actually the same costume that the Silver Age Green Arrow had until Neil Adams redesigned it in like 1969 or something.
And George Tuska is the artist there. I love this art.
Yeah, it's cool. It's got that old school vibe. Yep, definitely.
Strong line work, sharp edges. Like it.
Yep. Also, I got to point out, I love that logo, the old logo, Green Arrow. I love that.
It's why just the arrow? There's an actual arrow.
Yeah, the arrow and like the 3D arrow and like the 2D, the green. I love it. This is cool.
Yeah. But this is still Oliver Queen, right? And
yes, absolutely. Everything's almost the same. His origin is different, but he's exactly the same character. Yeah.
Well, it'd be different again in like 3 more issues because the crisis happens. Hey, next up we have Green Arrow.
Yep. Neil Adams costume, yep. This is the Earth 1 Green Arrow. Yeah. See? Different logo, different origin, different costume. You see that?
Mike Garrell is the artist here.
Yep. He's the same guy that did Longbow Hunters.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, he could have taken another swing at this one if I'm...
Yeah, it's okay. It's pretty good.
Anatomy's kind of fucked.
Yeah, his arms are really small, compared to his legs.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. That's a really good point. Wow, I never noticed that before. It's like ridiculous.
Yes. Next up, we have Green Lantern, but it's the old school Green Lantern.
Yes, Alan Scott. This is actually a great picture by George Freeman here. I love this art. The way his cape, how fluid it is.
Yeah, again, like legs are a little weird, but it's got nice energy to it. I like the feel of the art here. Yep. And the background art I really like. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, we should take note that Green Lantern, his costume, it only has one section of green, and that's his pants, plus the logo and the ring. Everything else is like, he's got red boots, yellow straps, a red shirt, a purple cape, and a purple mask. It just makes you wonder why they called him Green Lantern, right?
Well, green pants. You know,
there you go.
You base everything off your pants. But Miguel, someone say, hey, why does he got yellow? But no, this guy was, his weakness was wood.
Yes, that's right. And there was no Green Lantern Corps back then either, so.
His weakness was wood. All right.
Anyway.
Next up, another Green Lantern.
Yes. This is the Green Lantern of Earth 1.
Yeah, and his right arm is pretty fucked up too.
But this is Gil Kane, so if it looks wrong to you, that means we're wrong.
I'm not liking this too much.
Gil Kane is always right.
It's like he's drawing more muscles than he's drawing like body here, but all right.
Maybe. It's good. I love it though. It's a good shot. I think it's really action packed.
But that right arm, look how tiny it is.
It's a little bit tiny. Yeah.
It's supposed to be foreshortened. That fist should be way out big, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, let's go to the next page.
Oh, nothing about this Green Lantern? You don't want to remind anybody about Harold Jordan?
That he's the greatest Green Lantern of all? And that he was the
Green Lantern. Like he's the one, when you think of Green Lantern, most people our age think of this guy, right?
Of course. Yep. He's my favorite, that's for sure.
Like he's the one who was in all those Super Friends cartoons when we were
Absolutely.
kids, Justice League and whatever.
Yep, and he was also the one that was in the movie that bombed. Played by, what's his name? Deadpool. What's his name?
Yeah, the same kid that did the Deadpool.
Kyle. Why can't I think of his name?
Yeah, it's
that's embarrassing.
He's real famous. Ryan Reynolds.
There you go, Kyle something. Ryan Reynolds. Okay. Anyway.
Hey, next up, Micah, we got another Green Lantern.
Yeah, isn't that a surprise? John Stewart Green Lantern. This is the Green Lantern.
He used to host The Daily Show.
That's right, yeah. How did I never think of that? What the hell? Anyway.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the Finland Green Lantern that started in like the late 60s, 69-ish.
Hey, but Michael, notice who drew this one.
This is Joe Staton.
Hey, look at Joe Staton. He knows how to foreshorten an arm there. Look at that fist. It's real big. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But now you got to think, though, in the Gil Kane drawing, if the camera's really far away, then the foreshortening is not going to be as much, right?
But it's still going to be. But that's not what you want. You know, you want this, like a dynamic comic. You know.
Okay, maybe.
And I love Gil Kane, you know, but it's not his best work. Let's put it that way. All right. So this John Stewart fella. Now, how did he? Because Hal Jordan went nuts or something. Is that why he took over?
No, that was 20 years later. No, all it was. I don't remember how it happened, but they needed a fill-in.
Hey, do you remember? No, because we read that one story. Wasn't it in one of them Christmas books or whatever where Green Lantern slipped in the shower? Do you remember that?
Yes.
He bonked his head?
Okay, that is how he came into the Justice League story. But the reason he actually became Green Lantern was before that. Yeah.
But yeah, they had, hey, we need this kid to fill in. So this kid, John Stewart, filled in for him. Yeah.
And by the way, I forgot to mention the Green Arrow, the second Green Arrow logo is great. The Green Lantern logo is great. The Hal Jordan Green Lantern logo is great. And so is the John Stewart Green Lantern logo. It's great.
Wow, you're very liberal with the word great.
Yeah, I love these are all awesome. I love them. Okay, next. What's next? Oh, the Green Lantern Corps. Look at that.
They got like a little squirrel as a Green Lantern up in the corner there.
Yep, they got a squirrel. Well, he's a chipmunk, you mean, right?
Oh, okay.
Chip?
Chipmunk.
Yeah, Chip. You've got like a fish guy.
But Mike, I hate to point this out, like chipmunks don't have big tails like that. Chipmunks have little tails.
So he's like a squirrel, but his name's Chip, though.
It's probably Chippy the Squirrel.
I don't think so. But you know what's funny is Chip was actually one of the characters featured in the DC League of Super Pets, but he was not a Green Lantern. So,
what was he?
He was a chipmunk. But he wasn't like there was no connect. He was just a pet. There was no connection to Green Lantern.
Whose pet was he?
I don't remember. He might have been Green Lanterns, but in this continuity, he's like an intelligent. He's an actual member of the Green Lantern Corps, like defending 1/3,600th of the universe. So he's very important.
Now, Michael, when all this happened, is this when you can pinpoint that Green Lantern became stupid?
No. This is when Green Lantern became the best character at DC. So yeah,
you got 1,000 Green Lanterns, and they're all these different aliens and stuff, and they're all like really dumb. And
they're all great. You mean like the one with the plant who's got one eye? You got the other one looks like a cucumber. You got the bug. You got the bird. You got the what is that thing on the right? I don't even know what that is. Like a big mouth with a tongue coming out. Ugh. You got a little grasshopper Green Lantern. You got a robot Green Lantern. You got
a robot
yeah.
Green Lantern.
You got a diamond Green Lantern. Then you got this foxy chick Green Lantern with red skin. This is great.
Is there a monkey Green Lantern?
Not that I see. There's also an eyeball Green Lantern. This is good stuff. And we should point out this great art here is by Brian Bolland. It's really good.
Hey, next up, this guy first appeared in Green Lantern 164, the Green Man.
Yeah, they were kind of running out of ideas at this point, I think, eh? Art by Sean McManus. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. This guy seems like a hero, right?
Yeah, I think so, because he's smiling.
Though he's kicking a dinosaur in the face down in the bottom there. Like, boom.
Oh, I never noticed that. Yeah, you're right, he is. That's a pretty good kick.
Yeah, right in the face. What does this guy do, though? It looks like he has a ring.
I don't really know. He has telepathy. He has a mental gateway that can bring him instantly across great distances.
He has slow reflexes.
Yeah, but he had surgery that gave him mental powers. Interesting.
Though he has highly poisonous blood that protects him from some direct physical attacks. How would that even be possible? Poisonous blood protects you from...
Oh, you know what's funny? I didn't realize this. If you flip back, he is part of the Green Lantern Corps, or he was. He's actually flying around with them. And if you look at the bottom right, he's there. You see? Green Man. His face, yeah. So that's actually him.
In the big picture, I guess he's in the left there. See, next to the foxy lady with the mohawk. He's right next to her, I guess.
So he already had other powers, and then he became a Green Lantern.
All right.
Interesting. Huh.
Then we have Grimber. This guy, I don't know, man. Micah, would you like to describe this guy and his costume?
Let's see. He looks kind of like a wrestler. Like he has like bare legs, bare arms.
He looks like he enjoys certain activities after dark.
Yeah, that could be. He's got like chains around his waist, around his like shoulders, and then he's holding a chain, and he's got like brown kind of leather boots and kind of wristbands with like buckles on them. Interesting character there.
Very interesting. And he's got hair like Reed Richards, like brown on top with white on the temples.
Right.
And yeah.
Interesting.
And this is Craig
Hamilton, I think. It's hard to read.
Yeah.
It might be Hamilton, yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, use your imagination. Oh, look at that. Occupation Chainsman. What is that? Jesus.
Yeah, he works in a sex dungeon, Michael.
Maybe.
That's what he does.
Interesting.
He's like in them 50 Shades of Grey books or whatever.
Right.
It's this guy. First appearance, Superboy, 221.
Yes. Now, see, you know what? But he's a Legion of Superheroes character.
Oh, they're the
so he's from the 30th century.
The
best.
Worst.
Favorite team. Yeah. Better than the X-Men.
Hey, next up, Bill Sienkiewicz is drawing Grim Ghost.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Because we don't have enough ghost people.
Mm-hmm.
And,
first appeared in Sensation Comics #1, which was also the second appearance of Wonder Woman, I think. Pretty cool.
And this is he's set in the year 1700.
Yes.
Keith Everett is his name.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's interesting, but
I think so.
Next up,
the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. The Guardian.
Yes, another Jack Kirby creation.
Yeah, this is a Kirby drawing. Yeah, not his best work, but
it's okay. His 80s stuff was not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a kind of a Captain America-esque character. No powers, but he's got a shield.
Yeah. His costume's terrible.
It's not bad. Blue and yellow. Basic superhero costume.
Like, is that a helmet he's wearing?
Yeah, it's like a helmet, yeah. And then he's got a yellow shield.
He's got yellow underpants, yellow gloves, yellow boots, a red belt. And what the hell is that symbol? Like, what's that shield? Like, what is that?
I don't know. Good question. I don't know. But now this is the thing: is his real name is Jim Harper. So in comic books, at least DC comic books, anyone with a last name has to be related. So they made him the uncle of Roy Harper, who is also Speedy.
Everyone who has the same name has to be related.
Yep.
It's a rule.
Just like they created a character called Airwave, and his name was, I think it was Larry Jordan. You find out later he's the cousin of Hal Jordan. Ridiculous.
And finally, Michael, we're already at the end.
Whoa. Look at that.
Snuck up
Guardians of the Universe. Not the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Guardians of the Universe.
And this is a Gil Kane drawing.
Yes. I think it's a good one.
Yeah, this is probably the best of the Gil Kane drawings in this issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are the Guardians of the Universe, Michael?
Oh, they occupy the planet that lies at the center of the universe called Oa. They are one of the oldest races in the universe. They're the ones who discovered evil, I believe. And they created a force, a police force to, enforce good throughout the universe. But they were called the Manhunters. And the Manhunters became evil. And so then when they became evil, they had to create the Green Lantern Corps.
Well, I think if you call a group the Manhunters, probably going to turn evil.
Yeah, no comment. I was really excited to read about the origin of the Manhunters, and when I finally did, it wasn't that good. But anyway.
So then, wait, I kind of cut you off. So then to combat the Manhunters, he created the Green Lantern Corps?
Well, it was kind of like, we created the Manhunters and they turned evil, so now we got to create something else. So they created the Green Lantern Corps. That's what it was.
And then they turned lame. So then they said, we need something else.
Whoa, yeah. Actually, it's funny. Later on, someone else did create something to replace the Green Lanterns, and they were called the Dark Stars.
Yeah, that's even worse. All right, so there it is. DC Who's Who. Issue, what was this, 9? All the G's?
Yep. And see, you never asked me why I picked it. I picked it
Why'd
because
you pick this, Michael?
I'll tell you why. Because it had Green Arrow 1 and 2, and it had Green Lantern 1, 2, and 3. And I wanted to give our listeners a sampling of DC's multiverse, and that's why I picked this one,
Well, I hope they enjoyed it, because in a couple months it gets destroyed.
That's true. That is true. It all gets revised, yes.
Yeah. DC is terrible. It's awful. Anyway, do you have I guess you like the Green Arrows and Green Lanterns. If I had to pick a favorite, of course, Gorilla Grodd. But my other favorite would be G.I. Robit, I guess. I like G.I. Robit.
He's a cool character. Yeah, I can say that of all the characters in this book that I didn't know that made me want to find out more about them, G.I. Robot was probably one of them, but I would say the Global Guardians. That's probably my favorite entry.
Guardians.
This is by no means the most interesting issue. It's just that it had two major characters that had Earth 2 doppelgangers, so that's why I picked it.
All right, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I guess this, if you like DC, this would be awesome, but I don't, so it kind of sucked. So,
but it has 9 out of 10.
It has some good art in here, so I'll recommend it, Mike. If you like the DC, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. But,
I give it a 9 out of 10.
Yikes!
I mean, there's a couple pages that weren't that great, but overall, the art in Who's Who is better than in Marvel Universe because Marvel Universe, unfortunately, is almost all inked by one person, and it just gives it a very homogenized look, whereas DC's Who's Who, every image looks completely different, and that's why I like it better.
Yeah, that's why they get a 6, just because I do like the extra effort put into the art and the background images and everything. So
right, it's good stuff.
Yeah, and there's a robot. That's pretty good.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so next week, Miguel, the obvious thing is for me to pick Marvel Handbook now. But I'm not going to do that.
Oh, whoa, okay.
Unless you want me to.
Set up, no punchline. There you go.
I mean, because it just seemed like that's the obvious thing to do. I mean, do you want me to do that?
You can do whatever you want. Hey, it's your pick.
So I'll be honest, Miguel. I forgot I had to pick a book again, And
okay.
We've only been doing this for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I was scrambling before the show there, trying to think of something to pick. And I said I could go that way with the Marvel Handbook, or I settled on Red Sonja, issue 12 from 1978. How do you feel about that, Michael?
That's fine.
Yeah, we've never done any Red Sonja. And, of course, her real name is Sonja, and they call her Red Sonja because she's a filthy communist.
Is that why?
No, she has red hair. I think that's why. Yeah,
I figured.
red hair. But, so, Red Sonja, you happy with that?
That's fine. It's fine. What number?
Number 12. It has a really nice Frank Brunner cover. So, and now the artist is John Buscema. Normally,
nice.
The artist for most of the run is a guy named Frank Thorne. You ever hear
I've heard of him. I've absolutely, yep.
Not only did he draw it, he drew it, inked it, colored it, and lettered it.
Really?
Yeah, and he did most of the issues, but towards the end, there were only 15.
Okay.
So, but then John Buscema would do occasional issues, and Frank Thorne, his art, not the best, So we're gonna go with John Buscema here.
So you specifically picked this one because of that reason?
Pretty much for the cover, because I really like the cover. Do you see the cover?
Yeah, I see. It's good.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. And that's Frank Brunner. But yeah, I wanted to pick a Frank Thorne one just so we could talk about Frank Thorne. But I'm like, you know what? The art's not that great. So let's go with number 12.
John Buscema is one of my top 3 favorite Marvel artists. But I do think Frank Thorne is really good.
He has a weird style. It's like a cartoony, exaggerated faces and things. It's kind of a little weird.
It's a weird mix because you're right. It's the anatomy looks really realistic, but then the eyes will be cartoony.
Yes, Red Sonja has enormous eyes, and her mouth is. The faces look cartoony, and the bodies look really detailed and sketched out. It's weird. Yeah. So, we'll go with issue 12.
Cool. All right. There you go. Another episode of Flea Market Fantasy. Every week we pick a different Bronze Age book from the 1970s or 1980s. 1 week I pick, 1 week Mike Dell picks. Every episode is available at www.comicbooksyndicate.com. Be sure to listen to every episode. And until next Tuesday, this hurts!